saying that ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's episode.
And I don't ever wanna feel like I did that day. Take me to the place I love. Take me all the way down, down. It's too hot outside. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 250, I believe. I remember when gas prices were $2.50. Okay, listen. Here in Tejas, we've cracked under $3. Okay, actually under $4. Okay, I apologize. Under $3, under $4. Sorry, we had a mild stroke. Okay, just a mild stroke to start the day. You know what the issue is? It's too goddamn hot outside. I'm gonna be real with you. Listen, I don't know if this is just what happens when you get older, but I think you just talk about the weather all the time. I think that's all it is because as you age, you become like almost more affected by the weather. It just like controls your day, the solstice and the winter aura. I don't know. Okay, but I'm in Austin now and auras are important. The heat is impeccable. I thought my body was impregnable, but this heat is just getting through. I've given up on just outdoor life. Okay, just doing things on, a random day. It's almost like, I'm like, no, it's like venturing out into the apocalypse. You're just like, you know what? Does this need to happen? Okay, it does. All right. But if it's extracurricular activity, okay. It's just brutal out there right now. I'm halfway lying because I went out yesterday, went to Barton Springs, the historic landmark in Tejas, near Austin. Barton Springs. It's a natural river pool that has a bunch of floating stuff that I'm pretty sure is poop. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, listen. You go to Barton Springs, and I've heard about this, the cool Barton Springs. It's the spot, and I was excited to go. It was my girl's birthday. We were like, let's go check it out. We'll lay out, It was, that sun was fucking so invasive, all right? We get there. We lay down for a split second before going in the river pool, whatever it is, and literally beads of sweat falling down my lip. I'm just like, this is incredibly offensive. The heat that is being distributed unequally to Austin right now. It's like whenever it's too hot or cold, everybody's like global warming, but I'm like, something's happening. Something's happening. I don't know if it's a natural cycle, but apparently Texas is in, especially central Texas, is in like the hottest 30-day forecast. Like we're on complete track to have the hottest year in something like 30 years or something in Texas, which is just nuts. It's hot as shit. And it's a different kind of heat, all right? It's a different kind of heat because it's humid and it makes you sweat. And it's like you go outside and the sun treats you as if you just got the shit beat out of you at a bar and you're getting carried around. That's what you feel like when you're walking around. It's like there's more gravity when it's this hot because you go out for basic things. Dude, I go to HEB, shout out HEB, and I'm walking in the parking lot. There's birds dying on the concrete. I feel terrible for them, but I'm like, sorry, friend, I can't even look at you. I have to reserve all my energy resources and just try to beeline it inside of HEB. Shout out HEB. But it's extreme. It's like you feel like you're on Mars walking through a parking lot to get to the grocery store. That's how hot it is. But let's get back to Barton Springs. Who the fuck do they think they are charging $5 to get in there? Okay? Because guess what? You go right on the other side. It's open river. All right? It's a natural river. Barton Springs was cool. I'll give you that. There's a diving board. Way too many people there. I could see right in the cusp of the off season. This could be a fun place, a cool place to go. It was just so damn hot. It felt great when you're in the water. Then you get out for like 5 minutes. too goddamn hot. You got to go back to the water. And then you got to float around in this. And there's this algae floating around and it's following you. And it looks like poop. And I'm just like, dude, probably a lot of this is poop because I see naked babies being dropped in the water. A lot of weird things. It felt just very like some people were there just to shower. All right. It was a lot. It was just, it's too hot. And there was just porta potties only. Nothing brings you back down to earth and reminds you that we're all just a bunch of animals than going into a public porta potty. When you just got to look down in there and then try to deal with that smell as you add to that. And I don't know if I've ever shit in a public porta potty. Okay, listen. This is when you know we got a bunch of heathens running around out here. When you're just taking shits regularly in porta potties, I could probably count on one hand the amount of times that I've shit in a porta potty. If you're shitting in porta potties, you got to get your life under control. Okay, you got to check in with the big man upstairs. And I'm not talking about Harvey Weinstein. All right, you got to check in with the big man and figure out what you're putting in your stomach to make this kind of stuff happen. Where you're in a public situation where there's a porta potty and you're like, this can't wait. You know, I feel like it should just be emergency situations ever. And I've gone in too many porta potties where there's just stacks of earth tone colored shit in the porta pot, just like these, and not enough toilet paper. Not enough toilet paper around it. I'm just like, this isn't okay. And the smells that come out of porta potties. It's just, it makes you feel like you're back in like the Roman times when you would hear about these just shit pools and places like in the public areas where people just go shit and go back to the Colosseum. Disgusting. Disgusting. Okay? It's just, you get in those moments. Like, this is why a lot of stuff is like an illusion in life where you think everything is just like, oh, you see these things on social media and these hot girls and like hot guys. You know, I know what my demographic is. And you get this illusion that they're like a movie star version of them. I think that's why we worship celebrities for a little while, when we thought actors and actresses were like, oh my God, they're amazing. Go into a porta potty after a celebrity. You're like, oh, everybody is disgusting and shits just like everyone else. That should be the theme of life. Everybody shits in a porta potty, you know? Go into a porta potty after someone. You know, there's always that thing like you have a date or something, you stay over, and then you go in that bathroom after someone took a shit, and you're like, well, all bets are off. Okay? That's why if you like go on a camping trip or you just go on a vacation with someone too early and you got to be around them through that those situations where you can't avoid taking shits in front of each other, you know? That's why some people, you go on these trips and then you're taking shits in the lobby because you're like, not in the actual lobby, you find that public restroom, because you're like, I can't be fucking dropping bombs in the next room over while they're about to come in here and have to get ready. How do I avoid that? God forbid they paint the porcelain, you know, they get some streaks left in there. You're like, that's career ending, friend. Too early in the relationship, that's career ending, friend. Sorry, it is what it is. Because when you're in that initial, though everything's still coming together, you're under this illusion that this person doesn't take shits and doesn't listen. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how we got here, but I just went into a couple porta potties. Yeah, your boy drinks a lot of liquids. Had to let it go. I went to a couple porta potties, and it just humbles you. It just goes, shit, we ain't no different. None of us are different. I mean, some people, listen, some people's digestive tracts after being in there yesterday, much different. You got to get yourself on a regular schedule. Your boy, that is one thing I am disciplined at. My bowel movements happen at home in the mornings. Dude, if I'm going to number 2 in the evening, your boy fucked up. I got to check in with God to see where I went wrong. I'll get out a fucking journal and write down everything I've eaten in the last week just to figure out, how did this happen? Who let this through? You know? I can't even think of the last time I took a shit somewhere where it wasn't okay. I can't even think of it where I actually went in public. You know what? It wasn't too long ago, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into the real stuff. I was in Ventura. I was visiting. Listen, when you're traveling, shit gets weird, okay? Literally. Up is down, down is up. There's corn in it, there's not. Anyway, listen, I was at a comedy show, and for some reason, listen, you're putting all kinds of new stuff your body's not used to. Your sleeping schedule's all off. There's a couple nights when I was in California, I was sleeping like a half hour a night. And it was just, I was going and I was like, hey, why do I still have energy? Your body's like, hey, the moment you get back to Texas, you're going to pay for this, motherfucker. I was at a comedy show and I felt it too. I was like, dude, am I about to take a shit in this bar restaurant? And I had to go in the bathroom. I did. And this is what fucks up when you have too cool of shoes. Okay. I have these Vans that are dope. They're like Desert Storm. They just look super dope. Cost way too much. They're performing shoes only. I don't like to wear these anywhere else other than performing. All right. They're too noticeable. Another comedian came in, saw the shoes, then later saw me back out by the bar. And he goes, dude, did you take a shit in the bathroom? And embarrassed, I go, I did. I really did. That's the end of that story, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, we have some real stuff to get into. Barton Springs, shout out. I'll come check you out again when it's not so fucking hot. Okay. It was aggressive how hot you were. We have some stuff to talk to. Stuff that happened over the weekend that is pretty crazy. My world upside down. As a light-skinned Puerto Rican, it really took me for a ride to hear that Ricky Martin was accused of having sexual relations with his nephew. Not okay, Ricky. Not okay, Ricky. Okay? This is weird on so many levels. All right? Apparently, there's so much weirdness around this. For one, Ricky Martin. What happens to someone who gets so famous, so young? Remember, Menudo. Was that the name of it? Menudo? New Kids on the Block? He was part of something when he was young. This man has been a heartthrob since childhood. The world is your oyster. And this is why I always subscribe to the belief that you have to learn how to discipline your impulsive urges and govern yourself. You know how a car has a governor on it that doesn't allow it to go 200 miles per hour? You got to discipline yourself and seek a life. If you seek freedom, you'll become a slave to your desires. But if you seek discipline, you'll find liberty, baby. You gotta learn how to control those impulses. Because I feel like when you're Ricky Martin and you're that goddamn hot, it's no secret Ricky Martin is a sexual icon, okay? Can turn a lot of straight men. He probably has had his pick of the litter for as long as he can remember. Life has always been on an oyster for this man. Or a sea cucumber. You know what I'm saying? At what point do you go, okay, girls aren't enough? All right, well, he's gay. So he's like, you know what? These dime piece men aren't enough. These dime piece gay men aren't enough. When do you go, now he's like a T-Rex. He likes to hunt for his food. Now that quote only applies to Jurassic Park because in reality, T-Rexes weren't apex predators. What they were scavengers. Okay, so he wasn't like a T-Rex. He was like a raptor. Wants to hunt for his food. Enjoys the chase. So at some point, Ricky Martin, and this is all speculative, okay? I'm no oracle. I can't see actually how this went down, but this is the way I paint the picture. At some point, Ricky goes, I've had enough of these gay men. I've had my fill. Literally. I'm going to start turning straight men. You just get bored with it. So you're not got to up the ante. And then that doesn't start doing it for you, you're just like, well, this isn't fun anymore. Now it needs to be dangerous. Now we need to go with straight men who are married. All right. And then it just spirals into this place where your meter, your compass, your moral compass, and your sexual compass. And it's like at the end of the day, our reward systems, our dopamine, it all turns into a hamster in a cage drinking the sugar water to get that dopamine release. All it is a trigger. It's a button, you push it. Boom, 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 because you're just trying to release dopamine. Because you're fucking fried your system. You went too far you flew too close to the sun. Okay? And where do you get to that point where shit's so fucked up in your head that there's a chance you would have a sexual relationship with your nephew? You're like, that's like the weirdest shit I've ever heard. And obviously this is just an accusation. I don't know if it's real. I know that there was a restraining order put on him. And that's what we talked about a couple episodes ago, was about Ricky Martin having a restraining order put on him. I did not know at the time it was his nephew. And with this, Ricky Martin could be facing 50 years in prison over Puerto Rico incest laws. We're going to try that again. Take 2. He could be facing 50 years of prison over Puerto Rico's incest law. Okay? Or because of that law. Now, here's where things get weird legally. For one, the nephew was over 18 at this point. I think he's like 19, 20, or no, he's like 21. But here's also the thing. If there's an incest law, his nephew's the one that is accusing him. Wouldn't the nephew be risking 50 years as well? Is there some law within that law that if you're the one who comes out first, whoever says it first doesn't go to jail? If you're like, not it, the other person goes to jail? Because it would make sense. And then is it like, if you're underage and overage, yeah. But then if it's like, where does it get? Is it because Ricky's older? Is it because he's famous? It's just a weird fucking thing. And then it's weird because I feel like I've lived my life so much by Ricky Martin. So much of my stand-up. Literally, one of my favorite jokes I do is about Ricky Martin and looking up to him as a kid, never realizing he was gay. But he might be the biggest crossover star aside from Jennifer Lopez from Puerto Rico, which is just crazy. Ricky Martin ran the fucking 90s, maybe not too early 2000s, but he fucking ran the 90s. Remember Living La Vida Loca? Remember Black Cats and Voodoo Dolls? What? Ricky Martin made so many light-skinned Puerto Ricans pour candle wax on themselves. We all did it. Every light-skinned Puerto Rican, that's what you did, all right? You just wear your button-up shirt, unbutton. You just look at girls. Walk around slow motion. Fucking frosted tips. Just let it fucking feathery in the front. God damn it, Ricky Martin. We were all rooting for you. All of us. Other crazy Puerto Rican news. Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. He tied the knot. He did it. He locked it down. Jennifer Lopez, Ben Affleck. What's that meme of that guy who goes, I don't want peace. I want problems. Always. That's fucking Ben Affleck's life now. I'm happy for them. Listen, she legally changed her last name. I'm wondering if this will stick. I love studying relationships, and you see someone like they just have constantly so many problems. I feel like fame is not good for anybody. I feel like that kind of fame, that level of icon, and that level where it's like you can't go anywhere and have a regular life. That's got to be the craziest level of fame. And it's almost a fame that you can't reach anymore. I feel like there'll never be anyone as famous as that form of fame during the 90s and early 2000s. because now everything's so fractured, and in a good way. I think it's great the way that entertainment is now, and the way that, if you say quote unquote celebrity is, it shouldn't be the way it was, where everybody was getting their entertainment from one source, whether it was movies or music. It was all going through the same record labels and the same production companies and channels and movie studios. It was all controlled, and even all the news outlets. There wasn't really any, I guess you could say entertainment now is open source, where it's like, yeah, you have a little bit of algorithms, but you're okay. You're able to find your people. You're able to find your tribe and live within that world, which I think is a lot better. You look at Patreon and what is happening with entertainment and the way it's all getting really narrowed down. I think it's great because it gives people an opportunity to have their own life and still be able to do what they would want, with their life. Maybe when I was younger and just super unbalanced, I would look at that like, oh, what fame represents. I think when I was younger, I probably would have wanted that because it would have represented success and achievement. And now I look at that and I'm like, that is not at all what I want to do. I just want to make things and be creative and have fun and be able to live the life I want. I think that's like one thing I'm like starting to realize is like just filling up your days with things that you actually enjoy doing on a regular basis. Because it's going to sound so cliche, about the journey, about the climb. Shout out Miley. But it's like, there's never a place you actually get to if you're not doing what you enjoy, if you're not enjoying the process and building out the life that you actually want to lead, That's another thing people fuck up, is you get successful at something that you actually don't really enjoy, that it's not really what you wanted in that capacity, whether it's like getting success off something, so you almost start playing a character of yourself rather than being who you are. I have friends that have gone viral, and it's such a weird thing to say. They've gone like viral and they have these like online personas now, and they're kind of stuck in that box because they're like, shit, I got a lot of success and a lot of followers, started getting sponsors because of this particular thing I did. And now I can't really explore other areas of it because I'm monetizing this, which is an interesting move. I had a video go viral, got over 1 million views, got thousands of new followers and everything, a lot of interaction, engagement. And it was a simple video that I was like, this is whatever, I just made it. And it was like watching Encanto for the first time. I had no idea Encanto was so big. I literally just watched it probably 6 months. It was already streaming and everything. So it must have been like a year after it actually came out. So I didn't catch a buzz with it, but it just blew up. And I noticed that all these moms and young parents started following me and thinking I was like wholesome content. And I was like, I have to cut this umbilical cord as soon as possible, just so people know that I'm not just going to be posting like this kind of stuff. And did we lose some followers? Yeah, we did. Were some people a little upset with just me posting regular kind of content I enjoy? I'm an edgelord at the end of the day, But it's like I'd make sure I never want to get caught up in being like, well, I can monetize this, I can end this quicker if I just kind of stuck to this. And then it's like you get down that road. Anyway, one thing we have to talk about, it's in the vein of what we've been talking about with entertainment, is, if you don't know, Andrew Schultz, a very funny comedian, a trailblazer, if you will, dropped a new special, and I haven't had a chance to watch it. I've watched a few minutes of it. He's phenomenal. Great crowd work. He's just like dominated my YouTube algorithm of watching how he does crowd work and everything, and kind of blazing his own trail in the sense of entertainment. And I love it. I love to see someone who really does their own thing, not backed by a network. What happened was he was getting a comedy special produced with a network or streaming subscription. They wanted him to cut certain jokes that were too edgy, and he refused to cut it. So he ended up giving the money back, buying back his special, and then deciding to release it on his own as almost a pay-per-view event, and changing the model. And it's a big thing if it's successful, and it will be successful. You know, he posed it to, if you have a following, you can make this successful. If people really care about you and they're committed to you, you can make this successful, putting it behind a paywall. And it's huge because this is the way to go for creators, is to not keep bending to normal entertainment. I think what is happening is, what this will do is force them to do what the entertainers want, the creators. Entertainers are weird, you know. It's a huge move because it puts the power back in the hands of the creators, where you're not cutting jokes, you're not watering down, because so much of the stuff, I feel like when people have to change jokes and water down and try to be politically correct, they're doing it to appease a 1% of people, a group of people that aren't even really fans and were never going to enjoy it and never going to support. They might even have a subscription. They just like to complain. And when you create the content for that people, you're trying to cater to them, because the other 99% enjoy any forms and are at least tolerant of any form and attempt of entertainment. They are enjoying it. So you're going to start losing that. And I feel like for so long, cancel culture and all this woke bullshit was really making, they weren't forcing, but they were actually pulling it off of making all these corporations bend to their will just because they were loud. And it was an illusion, when it was just an inconvenience that they were complaining. No one was really listening. You know, regular people don't just go and complain all the time and virtue signal. I feel like this is a move in a direction to end all of that. Because if people just stop playing that game, there's going to be no choice. They're not going to have the content. People aren't going to watch that. I look at so much weird stuff. Like, people want authenticity. And I look at so much of what corporations and everything, some of these moves and the virtue signaling and inclusion for the sake of inclusion is like, it makes me throw up in my mouth a little bit, if I'm being real with you. I love inclusion in the sense of you're doing it in an authentic way. You're not doing it in a virtue signally way where it's so over the top, and it's just like that becomes the whole point, rather than the story, rather than, you know, actually lifting up. Like, it just feels like it's not doing anything, you know. It's just, you're spraying cologne on shit and calling it better. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to talk about that, you know. It's also great because all these platforms, everything's been moving this direction for a while now, where I think it's only going to get better. I feel like there's just going to be only more opportunities, and there's less and less gatekeepers in every sense of the word. You know, there's less, you know, especially in comedy. It's brutal at the bottom. Your boy's still at the bottom. I'm climbing the mountain, okay? There's so much an overflow of people trying to get to certain levels, and there's gatekeepers, and it's just like, you almost have to back off and do your own thing and not try to run this rat race and be like, no, if you build it, they will come. Just keep working on the quality, keep working on building your own world and your own ship, and it can't be rocked, you know, and it can't be taken from you. And it also takes a lot of the anxiety and stress out of it. And I feel like that's also the name of the game in life right now. Because if it's not comedy that's like that, in entertainment where there's gatekeepers, it's fucking gatekeepers in everyday fucking jobs. Managers that want to take credit for everything you do, your job always, you know, teetering and tottering if you're going to be able to have it. layoffs, the recession, everything's fucking scary. But it's just like, if you just find a way to monetize your skill sets, because you're probably very good at your job and you're probably underpaid, undervalued, and you aren't being treated right. And there's ways to start your own business and your own, schedules and actually utilize yourself. You'll feel fucking amazing. That's one thing about having your own business and, running my own video production business. It's stressful. Yeah. But I'm able to build my own schedule. I'm able to do the things that I want to do when I want to do them. I can be as efficient as possible. And there's no fat. And there's no one telling me, oh, you have to do it this way and blah, blah, blah. And people taking out their own bullshit. If I fuck up, I fucked up and I got to be a man about it. But it's like you feel more in control of your own life. It would be scary as shit right now to be dealing with inflation and a boss that you have to kiss their ass so you can keep your job because potential layoffs, and you have this car payment, and you have a house and all this stuff. It's a scary time. And I feel like just how being in control of your career as an entertainer and making as many, areas where you can monetize, do the same thing with your own goddamn life. This isn't just for comedians, And ladies and gentlemen, that's our episode. Hard pull out. Always got to pull out in Texas now. Wear condoms. They playing for keeps out here with them babies, huh? But ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed telling it to you, okay? And I will see you next week. And remember, no matter what, I still love you.